We are very fortunate to have with us today Bonnie Cramer, my colleague from Union College, who is going to share with us a few words of Divrei Torah, some thoughts on the portion. I'd like to invite Bonnie to come up. We'll send you to that one, I think, for COVID reasons. And looking forward to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Steve. Can everybody hear me? Little closer?
Well, you can hold the microphone closer to you.
I know I'm soft-spoken. Can you hear me now? Good. So Shabbat Shalom. If I were to label this particular davar, I would call it food for thought. In 1989, when I was president of Women's Network with Roberta, and 3 months pregnant with Shira, I gave the Davar Torah on Shabbat Shira, where we crossed the Yam Suf, as we did in Shul last week. As a pregnant woman, it seemed obvious that passing through the Red Sea was a birthing metaphor. We left the womb of Mitzrayim, a narrow place, and with difficulty labored to get to the expanse of the open desert, with the midwives, Miriam and Yocheved, singing to ease the birth pangs. Many came up to me later, including my OBGYN, Dr. Cliff Elson, to say that although they had never seen the story that way, it made sense. I use this example to demonstrate how our personal experiences and our collective history change every year, and why we can read the Torah every year and something new is revealed to us. As we read Shemini in 2021, we have gone through 1 year of a global pandemic, as well as the ugly rise of the virus of hate, whether it be against Jews, blacks, or Asians. We have just completed the observance of Passover, where, and permit me to be sexist for a minute, women for the most part have served as the high priestesses of the kitchen, scrubbing the refrigerator, the stove, schlepping dishes, shopping, and cooking to create in our homes a holy space for the Seder. We are now also counting the Omer, which is the walk from the freedom of Egypt to Sinai. And this particular week is week 2 of the 7. It is the week of Gevurah, where we examine boundaries. It is against this backdrop that I read Shemini, a parsha which has 3 very distinct parts. We are on day 8, thus Shemini, of a process to dedicate the Mishkan that we have been commanded in Exodus to build. Va'asu li Mishkan v'shinantam betochem. Build me a sanctuary that I may dwell amongst them. And yes, note the plural. Gifts have been received, artists have been creating, clothing has been sewn, bells made for garments, golden candelabras smelted, crimson, purple, blue cloth, all beautifully woven. Remember that we have come out of Egypt, where many of these skills were highly evolved. But now we are not creating as slaves for Pharaoh, but of our own free will for the divine, the one who brought us out of Egypt to serve, and I'm going to use the word them again, not as a plural, but as a gender-neutral term for the divine. Aaron and his sons have gone through purification rituals, put on their special vestments for this culminating day. Aaron as Kohen Gadol, and what I am going to label the sacred chef, is to prepare a purification offering of a calf, a burnt offering, a people's offering of goat and grain, as well as a well-being offering of an ox and a ram. So just to put in a little culinary aside again, This is the week that Torah has manna begin to descend from heaven. We too have a custom that has morphed as our form of a well-being offering. For those of you who are on social media, you may have seen many pictures posted yesterday of chalot, shaped as keys, sprinkled with sesame seeds. As we know, COVID-19 has upped the baking skills of many. These schlissel chalot are made for the Shabbat post-Pesach as a segula, an amulet for well-being and parnosa, income for the coming year, with the sesame seeds representing manna. I think we can go right back to the well-being offering of this parsha to understand what this particular challah is about. After Aaron makes these offerings, first he, and then Aaron with Moses, bless the people. This should be the pinnacle of the story. Fire from the Holy One comes down and consumes the offerings. The people witness this powerful vision of the divine manifestation and fall on their faces. This action completes this holy and sacred offering. Unfortunately, the story of this dedication turns dark. 2 of Aaron's sons offer up avodah zarah, strange fire. Was it incense? We don't know. What we do know is that in contradistinction to the holy fire which just consumed the prior offerings, what is now consumed are Nadav and Abihu. Many commentators puzzle through this. Were they drunk? Were they overcome with youthful ecstasy of seeing the divine? Did they not respect the boundaries? Once again, back to this concept of boundaries. Did they not properly wash their hands and feet? Did they refuse to marry? Different commentators have offered up explanations as to why, but we still don't know. And on the death of his sons, Aaron is silent. The pain of these words is palpable. Vayidom Aaron. He carries the weight of his office. Like so many in COVID times, he is unable to properly mourn the loss of family members. He cannot cross the boundary of holy space into the mundane world. The people will have to mourn on his behalf while he holds the sacred space. As this tragic section of the parsha closes, we move to the laws of kashrut in great detail. Mammals must have cleft hooves and chew their cud. Fish must have fin and scales. Birds of prey, which are considered angry, are not to be consumed. The list continues through insects and creepy crawly things. So what is the connection of the laws of kashrut to the dedication of the Mishkan? The Mishkan is now a dedicated, holy space. But we, who live outside these parameters, in the mundane world, once again, through food, move to the holy. Food for Jews is a bearer of values and identity. When I eat a piece of matzah, it carries with it the message of freedom and responsibility to the hungry. When I eat a blintz at Shavuot, I am connecting to the giving of the Torah at Sinai, and that I am still receiving this light. When I dip apples in honey at Rosh Hashanah, I commit to fresh starts. With the round challah, I recognize the cycle of life. When I have my stuffed cabbage at Sukkot, I am grateful for the bounty of the land. Latkes or sufganiyot connects me to the possibility of miracles. Hamantashen connects me to the power of resilience and women's power. We all know the saying, they tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. We affirm life with this act. Eating consciously and with boundaries of kashrut allows us a connection from our mundane world back to the boundaried world of the Mishkan and the holy. I would like to close with one prohibition which fascinated the rabbis. We are not to eat the stork, whose name in Hebrew is chachasidah, from the root chesed, compassion. If we are not to eat birds of prey because we will ingest anger, why is a stork, compassion, prohibited to us? The Talmud gives the explanation that the stork only takes care of its own. We can extrapolate from this that to take care of only your own, in the words of my friend Rabbi Gary Green, is a form of treif. To truly manifest Hesed, we need to reach out and care for each other. As Jews, to be truly kosher and manifest Hesed, we need to stand up against the spread of Asian and black hate, as well as to stand up to rising anti-Semitism. The sanctuary which we dedicated today, Ba'asuli Mishkan V'shinantam B'tochem, was created so that the Holy One could dwell amongst them. The them is us. We are the sanctuary of the divine. This parsha offers us a culinary bridge between the holy and the mundane. May we each merit leaving our narrow place, our personal Egypt, to serve the divine in loving kindness, chesed, for all peoples, in a world that is in great need of compassion. Shabbat shalom.
Yeshua Bonnie, thank you very much for those excellent words.